Yo, what's going on,
There he
everybody? Can you hear
is.
me now?
Oh yeah, we
Perfect.
got you.
Happy birthday, Matt. Well,
Ah,
homeless left birthday. What's going on? What's up, Craig? How you feeling, man?
It was my birthday on Monday.
Well,
eh,
happy belated to you too.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
there you
Jay
go.
Scott.
So
mine is early. Mine's
yeah.
next. Mine's on next Wednesday. But
Yeah.
we're all
Okay.
celebrating today's the homeless left's 100th birthday. So
There you
that's what we're
go.
doing today. So
Yeah, man, you already know. And yeah, by the way, you would think the internet would be, better over in the UK, considering all the surveillance and the censorship and all the cameras they want to load up over here. So this is a shame, man. I don't know how we don't have video over here, but hopefully they get it together.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, we can definitely do a story with you while we got you. If this, as long as they're not cutting the wire, cutting the feed on you. But I think we're going to be talking about this the Harvard story. This went down. Let me grab it. The CNN report. Um, the Harvard battle back and forth with Trump. So CNN is reporting that the IRS is making plans to rescind the Harvard's tax exempt status. They're making plans to do this, according to two sources familiar with the matter, which would be an extraordinary step of retaliation as the Trump administration seeks to turn up pressure on the university that has denied or has defied its demands to change its hiring and other practices. A final decision on rescinding the university's tax exemption is expected soon, the sources said. The administration already has blocked more than $2 billion in funding from the nation's oldest university, which is fighting the White House's policy demands, citing the constitutional right of private universities to determine their own teaching practices. And here we'll get to the good stuff here. This is what we're really talking about. And I'm actually, I guess, glad CNN got to this part. President Trump in recent days raised the idea of punishing the Ivy League university for not complying with what the administration has sought to portray as a campaign to fight anti-Semitism. Perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Terrorist-inspired supporting sickness. Remember, tax-exempt status is only contingent on acting in the public interest. Trump posted on Truth Social on Tuesday. So clearly, this is another one of these situations where people are in their tribes battling on this right now. Jay, what are your thoughts? I know you saw this come up on your feed. We had some people, really some hardcore MAGAs, doubling down and calling this a win for Trump. What's your
Yeah.
take on this?
I mean, it's pretty much right, complain about the left trying to censor them and push back on their ideas by pulling out all the dirty tricks. And I can't see how this isn't, just cancel culture woke coming from the right because, Harvard disagrees with their political ideology that Israel can do no wrong, or at least some people in Harvard, and they put on a protest. And what does Trump want to do? He wants to punish the entire university for the actions of a few protesters. And what that says to me is that that doesn't encourage freedom of speech. That doesn't encourage political dissent. That doesn't encourage, a vocal minority being allowed to air their grievances. What that is just another form of cancel culture. So I wish I could say I was surprised, but combine that with the fact that Trump is now deporting people who disagree with his political subservience to Israel. Combine that with the fact that they're letting Israel define what anti-Semitism is through the International Holocaust, Remembrance Alliance, and we clearly have the situation where Trump is willingly giving away our national sovereignty, which I would argue is a form of globalism, at the behest of Israel. And yeah, doing what the establishment wants him to do. So I wish I could say I was surprised about this, but I'm not at all. It's kind of what I expected because I followed the money behind Trump's campaign, and despite all the rhetoric, the money points to Israel first, not America first. So that's what we're getting. And sadly, this could wind up resulting in a little bit of a brain drain because uh, people do have strong feelings about this issue. All of Trump's policies right now, could have bad financial consequences for the country. So this could result and some of the more talented people in the country, like wanting to leave and go somewhere else. So, I hope that doesn't happen. But if he's doing this at the same time he's saying he wants to bring back manufacturing and launch American business, it just seems like a really counterproductive policy, because you need the brightest minds here, to do that. And this form of censorship could wind up driving people away.
Yeah. Yeah. Craig, how is this different from the situation we saw go down at Colombia, where they ended up caving and cooperating? Is that, I mean, I guess we're assuming that they went along with it because they didn't want to have this trouble. So Harvard must know that this was coming, correct? I mean, they saw the trajectory if they didn't cooperate, right, with the fascist policies.
Yeah, I think the taking advantage of the fact that maybe they can make it work to their advantage, right? I don't know what their motivations were for exactly doing this, and I still think there might be a chance they would cave anyways. Give it a little time. Remember the beginning, Colombia, it took them a little while before they started handing over their protesters. So maybe they see an opportunity. I don't know. I don't know if it's genuine, but I think this is really important that, we talk about this, right? The MAGA media too, as well, and a lot of the supporters. And the reason why we're saying this is not to bag on them. It's just to hope that they would wake up and understand that when you avoid talking about the dangers of ignoring the Constitution, right? The freedom of speech, what we're supposed to be, the marketing that goes along with what we were sold of why we were Americans and why it's the greatest nation on earth is because we have our speech. We have our ability to voice our opinions, whereas in other countries that they call, security states, you can't do that. You say something bad about Xi Jinping, there's going to be a knock on the door and they're going to take you away. Same thing in Russia. Putin's going to put you in the gulag, right? Supposedly that's the image, but this is what we're supposed to be all about, right? And I even think that's, if that's what the marketing is, if you're looking at the marketing itself, it's important to follow the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
The way it's being ignored with the deportation and where due process is thrown out the window, and it's a slippery slope, when they're allowed to have this weaponization of ideology. Hearing people like Libby Evans this morning talking about, once again, because I only watched 10 minutes, I couldn't watch more than that. I watched 10 minutes of Jack Posobiec on Bannon. I couldn't watch any more of that. They justify what they're doing because they're almost like God gave them the permission. There's a dangerous allowance of sorts when we don't speak out about the weaponization of ideology, right? Because this is just their ideology. They're cool with it because it's their team, right? It's their common sense. It's their ideas. They're getting that enforced. But that slippery slope is that if you give that power, that you're able to ignore the Constitution, right? When the other side gets it, right, what are they going to do with it? This is what's happening. This is the tennis ball. I mean, back and forth. Yeah, well, there's justification because of this, because Biden did X, Y, and Z, right? He, demonetized and censored all these right wingers. So now we're going to censor and, weaponize, and silence all these woke people. But the problem with that at the end of the day, I think, is that all of us at the end of the day, everybody, no matter what ideology, all of us will lose our civil liberties if we allow this stuff to continue to happen. One side takes a whack at it or the other. That's why I'm saying that everything we're seeing right now with this Trump administration, Jay said he wasn't surprised, nor am I, because it's just one side gets in power as they take away the opposition's rights and civil liberties. Now the other side gets in power and it will take away the other side's rights and civil liberties. And at the end of the day, we all lose our rights and civil liberties. And that's the danger of what's going on in front of us today.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring up a longer excerpt of the tweet, just so I want to kind of break this down with the MAGA base, and kind of figure out like why Trump is able to get away with this. So he says everyone knows that Harvard has lost its way. They hired from New York and Chicago at ridiculously high salaries, two of the worst and most. So this is the Trump strategy, is to just attack. It's the bully strategy, right? You say, okay, the worst and most incompetent mayors in the history of our country, which could possibly be true. I mean, you can make that case, but that again, that's not so what? That's not what the thing is that we're talking about. To teach municipal management and government. These two radical left fools, and then we know they're not radical, they're establishment, left behind two cities that will take years to recover from their incompetence and evil. Harvard has been the hiring almost all woke radical left idiots and bird brains who are only capable of teaching failure to students and so-called future leaders. Yeah. So, Jay,
Matt, can you give me a justification why it would be okay if you were speaking for, I don't want to say speaking for them, but maybe get inside their minds and still justify why it's okay to censor these people and ignore the Constitution because of these woke ideas? I mean, is there a justifiable reason for them doing what they're doing?
No, it doesn't look like there's a justifiable reason. It looks like that he's just playing to his base. They know they love this language. They love the radical left idiot language. And he's equating that to, well, we need to punish them for that, and forgetting about the fact that it doesn't matter if these people are complete morons or are diabolical and are shady and what all the problems are. The point is the students themselves are speaking out and has really nothing to do with how they're being taught. It's actually against how they're being taught, because we know the college campuses don't generally support this these days anyways. They tolerate it to a point, but the students are doing this themselves. That's the part that Trump purposely leaves out here. Jay, do you think that, and I'll bring you back up here so people can see your lovely face here. Jay, do you think that if the MAGA base was more in tune with the difference, the game plan that Trump's doing, the bullying and then the switch around, and not actually talking about the thing that's happening, if they were more aware of that and they called him out, could he get away with this? Is this something that he would be able to do? Is he only doing it because he knows his base is not going to say anything about it?
Yeah, and that's pretty much right there. Every year, depending on like how long elected, the country is supporting whoever's in charge. At least a third of the country is protesting or happy with it, and it's completely out. So you have 2/3 of the country that's either going along.
Jay, don't mean to interrupt you, but if there's a way you can move a little bit from the reception, we're losing some of what you just said. I don't know if there's a way you can do a little adjustment there, but if you want to start that again. Yeah.
Is this a little better now?
Man, it sounds like Darth Vader.
Oh, wow. I don't know what's going on over here, man.
It's a little better now. It's a little better now. Go for it. Yeah. Okay,
perfect. So yeah. So long story short, I don't think you get away with it, because right now we have 2/3 that are either supporting or just not paying attention to what. If to an average, third of the country Republican, third supports, Democrats, and a third is kind of checked out. What's happening. So if we had 2/3 of the country that were against him, no, he wouldn't be able to do it. So, but that's what happens, like whenever, someone comes in and changes from the last administration, at least the packaging of the policies they're delivering, you just have different people supporting the same policy. And, just to kind of back up what you guys are saying, I want everyone to just go check out Vigilant Fox's page right now, on Twitter. And they are right now supporting globalism under a new name. But the new name of globalism is going to be called Saving the West. There's a press conference over there with Malone. They're globalist policy.
Okay.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay, hold on a second. We got the piece of that, and I got the link here. So we're going to go ahead and hopefully you'll work out the reception while maybe it'll just work itself out on its own. But while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and share this. Like you said, this Vigilant Fox literally doing the thing that they're supposed to not do, but just because they changed the name and calling it something else, now they can cheer about it. So here, let me bring this one up here, and we'll let the audience hear some of this. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, it's supposed to be on the stage. Oh, I got to remove this. Okay. Here we go. And then I'll bring this bigger up. Can you guys see that? I have a hard time here with this. Let me see if I move it like this. Okay. So Vigilant Fox says the new Maloney just called on Trump to form a historic alliance between Italy and the U.S. to make the West great again. This wasn't your typical diplomatic moment. It was a clear shot across the bow of globalism. Oh, really? Maloney made it clear to fight to save the West isn't about maps or borders. When I speak about the West, mainly I don't speak about geographical space, she said. I speak about civilization, and I want to make that civilization stronger. She acknowledged the rift between the U.S. and Europe, but said now's the time to fix it. Then came the invitation. I want to thank President Trump for having accepted an invitation to pay an official. Oh, I guess you got the visit, the actual clip down here. I guess I didn't see it, but I'll finish reading this. To pay an official visit to Rome and consider the possibility in that occasion to meet also with Europe. And she closed with the line that said it all. The goal is for me to make the West great again. She's not just fighting for Italy. She's fighting for the survival of Western civilization. And Trump, he might be the only one with the strength to help her do it. I mean, man, it's so sad because the Vigilant Fox was such a great place to go for medical freedom movement stuff for a few years. And now it's gone so downhill. Every time I see it come up on my feed now, I cringe. And this is why it's this type of language. It's awful. I'm glad you showed us, because this is, again, another example of people losing themselves right back into the tribe that they claim so much that they were out of, and they were speaking on behalf of a populist movement and against all these things, and now they're just embracing it again. Globalism, censorship, all the stuff that we're supposed to be against, and here we go. So we're losing them left and right, it seems.
Yep. Can you guys hear me any better now?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Perfect, perfect. All right, so yeah, man. So it's just another example, like it's just rebranding. Same things getting rebranded and pushed back to us again. And for those who don't know, Maloney received an award from the Atlantic Council for being a strong ally to Washington while Joe Biden was president. So what does that tell you about what her actual agenda is? So we see the
hardcore pro-Ukraine too. That's why. Exactly. She was hardcore pro-Ukraine.
Yeah. So this is, the situation we find ourselves in. But, I do think there is more pushback, though, happening within the Trump base than there is in the Democratic base, at least against their own party. So I don't want to give up hope on them, but unfortunately, a lot of them are falling for this.
Can I make a comment on that? They might be pushing back, but still, at the end of the day, 99% of them, just like 90% of the vote blue, no matter who, they'll justify voting for Trump over Joe Biden. They're not recognizing that it's a two-party illusion. They're not recognizing that this is just a continuation of the Joe Biden campaign, what Donald Trump is doing, right? He funded the genocide, Joe Biden. He provided them weapons. Every once in a while, he would throw something out there. He never really, even though AOC said that they're working tirelessly for a ceasefire, never happened, right? Donald Trump just picked up the ball where he left off and kept going. And now Ukraine is going to turn into his Vietnam because he hasn't done what he's promised he would do, stop the war within 24 hours. In fact, he's expanded the war zone now by bombing Yemen on a regular basis, and not only bombing it, but bragging about killing people in a tribal circle in Yemen on a tweet. I mean, it's the same old. That it's like that book by, I think its name is Joel Andreas. It's called Addicted to War. It's a comic book. America is addicted to war.
Yeah. Well, thanks for checking in with us, Jay, today. And this is definitely something that was important to look at. And we always have to look at these things because, again, we're losing the non-tribal community back to their tribes. So it's we got to be even louder. So we appreciate all your work. When are you coming back? Or you're out there for a little bit? You'll be coming back to the States soon?
Yeah, I got about 3 more weeks out here, then I'll be back in the States. So spending some time with family, catching up with a few folks out here, and trying to enjoy a little international travel while I can. So
awesome.
I'll check in with you later, man. Congrats again on 100 episodes, and looking forward to doing 100 more. So catch you later.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Love it. Thank you. Jay Scott, everybody.